over. But I think they cut over your stuff too. I don't like that. Okay. But I thought you did an excellent job for the team.
We'll wait about another 3 minutes. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance and we'll jump right in. So make best use of everybody's time. Joanne actually said she was going to sing the national anthem.
Yeah. Oh, man.
When she learns,
Maybe just repeat what Carrie Underwood did yesterday.
I could do that.
Can you imagine that? Nerves. Yeah, watching the video that the angle camera that's right behind her. She's like, I'm just going to sing. And I was like, that's pretty powerful. Yeah, poor kid from Oklahoma. Finds out she's got a nice voice, and there she is. Oh, here's the one. No, I've got both. Yeah, full Monty. Yeah. I hate paper. I like digits.
Oh, she needs another one.
Got an extra one from you, Elaine. Thank
I wasn't gonna pick it on my window. Want to keep it up, 35. I know I gotta donate less to. He's here, but he's off 2 weeks. So, yeah. He's never off. Got invited to inauguration, I didn't go, and he texted me, why did they show up? That's pretty serious. You can't be everyone, that can't stand 16 hours. They were lighting up the door the day before. An opportunity to just get some sleep.
Know what I mean? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I call the meeting order. Roll call, please. Here.
Pat Bickett.
Here.
Sarah Anderson. Here. Will Wilkie.
Here.
Larry Miller.
Here.
Art Shot.
Here.
Mike Theodore.
Listening to the page, just making sure it's not a real page. We're going to adopt the agenda next, but I want to make 2 recommendations for modifications. Under committee and mayor reports, I want to add community calendar review as an item. And I would also like to defer 1 line item within old business to review the appraisal reports for 101 and 103 North 3rd. Mr. Jerry Zimetz, who is unable to join us tonight due to illness, thanks to his grandchildren, he's not here and he has some of the information about that that's critical. So we're going to defer that item.
Any motion?
Need a motion to accept the agenda with a modified agenda.
Shep makes a motion, accept the agenda with the modifications. Second.
Motion and second to adopt a amended agenda. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries. And for those of you on the telephone is Mr. Michael Tiedemann, Counselor Michael Tiedemann. So, all right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the January 6, 2025 minutes.
So moved.
Motion and second to approve the January 6, 2025 minutes. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, so we're going to take a short moment and we're going to be a little less formal for a second. Ms. Marcia Nelson, if you can join me at the front. So for those of you that may or may not know, I've taken an opportunity since May of 2024 to begin to more formally recognize members of our community that make us proud to be from Beresford. So Ms. Marcia Nelson got a hold of me a long time ago. I think it was actually a fire department fundraiser. I think you and your husband stopped me. So, a long time ago, we used to do this thing where we had community Thanksgiving. And in the paper, I was actually filing through my old paper. So this is how I get around my house. So I've got stacks of paper everywhere. See my stack there that I'm trying to build. And this event that she was talking about started in 2011. Mayor started it. Is it pronounced Mayor?
Right.
Not told Mayor. Okay. Marcia was very convinced that this was the right thing to do. Bring community members together, cook a large meal, not only a sense of community based around the faith that we all share in that time where we're able to have some of those experiences, but these spaces that you haven't seen in a long time. But for those of us in the community that have an opportunity to help others, we want to be able to do that. This was the right thing to do. And I told her, I said, whatever you need, and of course there was 1,000 things that came to light. I didn't do anything. But that type of community engagement, community involvement needs to be emphasized. And we're significantly happy that you were able to kick us in the shin and tell us this was the right thing to do. We appreciate it very much. And what I want to commend you for is not only doing it, but also getting us back in the habit of making it a regular event. And so whatever we need to do, you and I, Mr. Nelson, others in the community, to make this a regular tradition, I commit to that. And I think it's a fantastic tradition. So I appreciate it very much. Thanks for coming this evening. I wanted to shake your hand and tell you thank you in front of the city council and the meeting tonight, and give you the floor just for a few seconds if you want to talk about anything that you would like to do so that we can make sure we make this an annual event.
Well, first of all, I would really like to thank my community, Joanne, my right hand lady, and Dave. We wouldn't have been able to do it without it was Dave and Joanne and Glenda and Brad Carnes and Darla Jacobson and Carla and Chris Lawrenson and Anita Dixon also helped us out. And if we would have had that core committee to do so much, I mean, we would meet and everybody would kind of just say, hey, yeah, we need to do that, or maybe we should step back and do this. And thank heavens for the neighbors, because they gave us recipes for 400, and they said, so how many are you going to plan on? Well, let's go with the 400. We had just about 400. We read 350 and we had 75 carryouts. And the community was totally awesome. The donations were just everybody just working together to make everything happen. The school, the kids at the school were fantastic. On Wednesday morning before Thanksgiving, we said, hey guys, this is what we need. They came in, they've done it before. They had that place set up in half an hour. Tablecloths, everything. I mean, with the placemats and everything. And then, we were really concerned about the cleanup. We didn't even have to worry about that. The people in the community just stayed with us. And so it was a good thing. And we had a lot of favorable comments about it. People that are new to the community were excited about it. People that had didn't have any place to go. So we just really thank the council and the city of Beresford for letting us use the bridges. Without that, we would not be able to hold this event. So, can we have the bridges next year? Or this year? And so anyway, we appreciate that and Ben's cooperation. We surely do. There's a couple little things that maybe down the line we can talk to you about. And we've seen that maybe if we had it to things working a little different, then, that would help us out too. So, and the whole community, not just ours, but the whole community. So we thank you very much. We are already working. We had a meeting today. So, yeah. So,
Great.
and like I said, the community and all their.
When you say 400, you know, I took a picture at one point in time from the corner of the room and I couldn't get it, but so it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
I just would like to read a few of we sent note cards out for people that were there. And these are a few of their comments. It said, I am really thankful for having this time with family and friends. Thanksgiving for community caring. The meal was delicious, family, friends, and the folks we met here today. Thankful for life and the joy of living here in such a welcoming town. To see kindness in serving and providing a wonderful home-cooked meal was an encouragement and a blessing. Thank you from 2 new residents of Beresford. I am thankful for God for this meal and those who prepared it. Much appreciated. Thank you for the delicious meal and thankful for my health and family. We had hundreds of notes, but I threw a few together and like she said, it was a blessing for all the people together. And we had fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, again, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Marcia. Thank you, committee. We appreciate it very much and we'll do what we can to make sure we support it next year. We'll make sure we get it on the community calendar. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So, all right. Thank you very much.
You did a great job.
All right, we're gonna move along on the agenda. Public hearing. So 1-day temporary malt beverage license for the Beresford Volunteer Fire Department for the 1st of February, 2025 for their casino night fundraiser.
Need a motion?
So this would be the time.
Comment.
Yeah.
For anyone who has any public comment for or against the said license.
All right, hearing none, we'll entertain approval of the 1-day temporary malt beverage license.
Need a motion? Shall make a motion for the 1-day temporary malt beverage license for Beresford Fire Department, February 1st, 2025. Second.
All right, motion and second to approve the 1-day temporary malt beverage license for the Beresford Volunteer Fire Department, February 1st, 2025. Any further discussion?
Do we need a time frame on that?
Do we normally insert a hours of the day time frame? Now, Tom's shaking his head no, Mike.
Okay.
Yeah, so because it's purely the first, Tom just said that it'll end at midnight.
Okay.
All right, any further questions, discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Visitors to be heard. Pastor Dan Davey, Comstead Church.
My wife and I just moved here in November. We got to enjoy that Thanksgiving dinner, and that was wonderful. That was a great kind of welcome to the community for us. We don't have anything particular we're asking for, but we're just very thankful to be here in Beresford. We moved into one of the governor's homes, and it's really been wonderful and great neighbors, and just we've really enjoyed Beresford very much. And Will is one of the members of our church, and so he's a blessing to us. Maybe I'm hoping he is for you guys as well. But we just want to say, you know, sometimes you're overlooked perhaps with what you're doing. And the town is always aware of that until there's a crisis. So I want to just come and say thank you, folks, on behalf of the church and anything we can do to help. Because, you know, in many countries, like they call people the minister, the prime minister. And you folks are kind of a minister in that certain way. You care about what happens in the community. You're doing things to make the community a better place to live. And so I want to say, just thank you from my heart. I want to participate however we can and make Beresford a better place. So thank you for giving me a chance to say hello.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for coming. We appreciate that. And our network of religious leaders around the city become very important in communicating. The only way we get people sometimes at the VFW American Legion Pancake Feed is we have to tell the churches. And so everything else. An active communication network is a real thing. So thank you very much for coming in. All right, and next on the agenda, Shania Chamber of Commerce. Is it Shania?
Yeah.
Okay. If I mess it up, you're gonna tell me, aren't you? Yeah. Hey.
We're mixing. March is kind of what we're thinking. This mixer would include introducing our new team, the goals and aspirations we have, things that we want to accomplish, mingling, networking.
Further connect the community on all things, where the new chamber is going, how we can present it to businesses, all the above.
Put applications out there to join,
Yeah.
things like that. So what we were wondering if we can use the bridges to host this event. And what the process is for that. But maybe for the we're looking at essentially a Friday.
Yeah, in March.
Walk us through that process and how that works and what we need to do.
We can absolutely submit it. We can speak with Ben, number one, to verify that the date you eventually choose will be available. How many business, so if we had to do a 1 to N list in Beresford, about how many are chamber members currently by percentage?
So current chamber members are a little bit difficult. Joanne did provide us with a list of what the old chamber applications went through and who was part of that. But as of new applications who might attend, that is a number we're unsure of, but we can get you the full list that Joanne provided us. So you have an idea for who was involved and who might be involved in the future.
Okay. Because did John hold a business mixer or something like that? I'm drawing a blank on exactly what it was, Mr. Erlinson. There was one time and I just remember, maybe it was a hiring
Oh, maybe a job fair?
job fair, yeah. Yeah.
Couple years back.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to do a refresh of, having new businesses in town too, just about even in the last year. We'll definitely cover this. Any books, so a little update on that. We'll do an RSVP for you, right? Yeah. But
Yes. And if we get a date out, that we'll be able to give them more.
Much in the same way that you guys have produced some of the event flyers for the flannel fling, et cetera, the parade of lights, something like that will draw people in, and then making sure that we communicate with Ben, adding it to the community calendar. As we get closer, we can leverage our social media channels to emphasize it.
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
we can start with Ben, and then go from there.
No, I don't think so at this time. It's, and as we get closer, if you need us to make contact with the businesses, just to get them to understand the value that you guys bring. I mean, obviously, I think you guys are probably out there in the community as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we get closer to that date too, we can also go ahead and get put back on the agenda for another city council meeting. Explain with all that, bring more details. Like I said, as we get closer to the dates, we can get community involvement as much as we can for everything else. So.
Yeah. Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Have a great night.
All right. Next item on the agenda. Any additional visitors here? You got it. Next item on the agenda, committee mayor report. So the first item that I would like to discuss this evening is I want to work with members of our city council to expand how we describe the different committees that lend themselves to making decisions at both for the city council on behalf of the city and in cooperation with myself. We have in the past always operated on a relatively high level with the terms that we use to describe some of the different committees. Some of the committees are fairly intuitive when you consider what their names, i.e. Public Works, Streets, Water, Sewer, Solid Waste, Recycling. I have delivered draft documents to most of the city council members. I've got a few additional copies if anybody else would like one. I would like to work on this over the next month, and by mid-February, probably our second meeting in February, have everyone on the council feel confident with what it says, so that we have a good feel for how those committees connect, what their purpose is, what they're able to deliver, and then try to promote some level of transparency where if there's information that needs to be passed along from those committees, we make sure we get that information out into the community. Some of these are fairly formal and they meet regularly, i.e. planning and zoning. Library is a fairly robust board, but some of them meet a little less often. But Bedco just, Mr. Doug Allerding took over for Mr. Phil Peterson recently, and I don't know that really got out in the community. And for those that don't know exactly what Bedco does, they're a very valuable asset to this community. And so I want to try to find a way that we can continue to understand what those committees do, And then again, how people in the community would find out about some of their current activities. Any thoughts as you guys look through the document? Some of these would be tied to reports. So i.e. Mike produces a monthly report on the volume of work that he does. We would write that in. Annual reports, we know that TARS brings forward an annual fire report. We would write that into the Public Safety Committee so that we would have an understanding, okay, hey, this is when that comes. And then that way, people are able to expect it on a certain cadence each year. Any questions?
Can you
All right.
make sure I get a copy of that, Eli?
Sir, yes, sir. I'll try to send you one before the end of the meeting. All right, any questions? The other item that I did want to discuss this evening is that I would like to add a standing agenda item for mayor reports to review the community calendar. The community calendar this month actually does not have any activities on it, despite the fact there are a couple council meetings, but nothing. But if you begin to look into February, you'll see that there are 4 activities that are identified that fall in line with some of the items that we wanted to be able to put on that community calendar. So when and where we can emphasize those to get those out there so that people understand, hey, the Frostbite 4's, the Mayor's Mile and the Frostbite 4 are happening on the 8th of February. That way people can plan ahead of time. So Mike knows that he's got a law enforcement requirement. Emergency EMS knows that they'll generally support that. There's people in the community that will watch corners. Tom usually watches the Methodist Church, right? Depending
How cold it is.
Depending on the temperature. Hopefully it's not nearly as cold as it is last night. But if it is, the current race director is Mr. Troy Boone. His assistant is Ms. Dawn Seeley. And so they're doing quite a bit of work to try to COVID, they took quite a bit of a hit. They had a virtual race, but then the year after that, they've continued to bring the numbers up. If it's 42 degrees and sunny, I guarantee there'll be about 500 people there. That's almost too many, but that's a great community event. So that's one example of what we would like to see on the community calendar, but reviewing it in this forum so that people can see those different things. And then we can begin to think of other items that need to be on that list. We'll probably avoid replicating things that are on the school calendar because the school does an active job of managing their wildly busy calendar. And so we won't replicate what's on there. If there are community events that are associated with some of those school events, i.e. the kickoff cross-country meet, we know that's the largest event of the year, and it's the first event of the year. We know there's some community support involved there. Some of the varsity football games, there's some community activities there as well. So any questions?
Did we have a discussion, just vagrant memory here, the link to the school calendar on the city's calendar?
Yeah, I think we had talked about just somewhere probably on the front page. Because when you get to the front page, it's going to default to the current month. So probably just below the description, we could add, or somewhere we could add, here's the school calendar.
And so if somebody stumbles in there looking for some high
Yeah,
school
yeah.
athletic event, then they have a direct link to the school site, which has that information.
And so I want to thank the staff at City Hall that have helped. Ms. Rachel Johnson's been helpful. And I told Elaine that when we built the community calendar, I did want it to become an all-consuming activity. So hopefully the workload thus far has been pretty reasonable. So because there is a way on the website to request an addition to the community calendars. All right. Any additional questions, concerns, complaints? All right. Next item on the agenda, Finance Officer.
So everybody should have the December financial report. Hard to believe that we already finished up 2024 in a whirlwind. A couple items out of the ordinary. We paid Grossenberg's $6,840 for the John Deere lease tractor in the street department. And we also paid them $1,625 to lease the John Deere grader for the street water sewer department. Dwight Construction was paid
$49,214 for the golf park shop, and then $3,338 to finish up the, touches here at the new city hall and Beresford Hotel. And then, Dave came in with another request at the end of December of $42,212 for another golf park shop. Site works for the wastewater treatment facility, Sager system. We had the large $2.2 million payment go out to them. The state reimbursed us, so then and submitted a check to them, but they also requested $332,444. Dan's duct cleaning, we had the duct work all done in this building, and that came in at $1,163. The library replaced the air conditioner in the East Community Room. Jane is well ahead of their schedule and just getting the air conditioner ready for the summer. $6,403. The swimming pool boiler needed repaired. That was $3,020 from Johnson Heating and Cooling. The Bridges Clubhouse patio addition, we paid Gil Haugen $15,128. And we also paid JHK Excavating for the mulch at the wastewater treatment facility Sager system of $6,641. So we had a lot go out in December. I guess later in the meeting, we'll discuss the end of year numbers.
Good. Yeah.
Motion.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make a motion, to accept the finance officer Elaine Johnson's December 2024 financial report as stated.
Motion and second to accept the December 2024 financial report. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, ma'am. Report's approved. Anything else? All right, old business. We are going to defer the review of the appraisals for 101 and 103 North Third. And we're going to talk about the transportation alternatives grant for South Third Street Bike. So Pat, Jerry's not here. We've kind of part of our triumvirate. Do you want me to open it up?
Please.
Okay. So State of South Dakota has a fantastic grant opportunity, transportation alternatives grant. That's what it's titled. We have for a while now been proposing that extending our existing network of paths or shared use paths around the 298 3rd Street corner, which is right now, there are no sidewalks along that roadway, but yet we have a considerable amount of youth traffic, Griff Halverson and Colton see the right around the corner at the time of sunsetting. It's hard to see them. We have gone, we initially had Banner do some work, and Banner came up with some initial design specifications. We came up with some initial numbers. Transportation Alternatives Grant is a fantastic grant because it pays for 80% of the total cost. What we've run into is that we know, number one, fortunately we have a civil engineer sitting right here. We know that there is some inherent complexity with that area of town based on the grade that exists around that curve past the Dennis and Kelly house, the Atwood house to the Catholic Church. There would need to probably be some work. We have a few open-ended questions. One of those questions is, do we have complete concurrence of every resident from the Atwoods to the Halversons that they would be in favor of a shared use path? And at this time, we don't have 100% concurrence. We do have at least one resident that said that they would not like to have a sidewalk or shared use path in front of their house. So what Pat and Jerry and I talked about the other day, because we want to try to be able to take advantage of this, is that there may be alternatives where we leverage the property that the city currently owns, which is part of the golf course. So in that neck of the woods on the south side of town, the 6th hole on the golf course goes from west to east, northeast. We own some property that exists right along the small creek there. And there may be a way to complete our path to give some alternative to those that don't want to just end up where that Albertsons are or continue around by the Methodist Church. And also abide by some of the overarching principles that we wanted to be able to achieve with this, which is give kids a safe way to school, give kids a safe way to their recreational activities when it's warm enough to ride a bicycle or walk or run. So I think the consensus we came up with the other day is we can push forward with a plan where there may be a commitment by the city where we would have to pay for the design work without knowing if we would be able to execute. And what that might be is some cost, and although it would probably give us some better understanding of what's feasible and what's not feasible, I don't know that it would probably give us the outcome that we have. So some of the homework that's going to be required going forward is that we're going to need to sit down with the citizens along that path. And I will give Maisie Anson a shout out because she has been doing some of the background work to gain consensus. But again, unfortunately, at this point in time, we don't have 100% consensus. There is some easement there, a public easement, but it's not, I don't think it's enough for a 5-foot sidewalk and or 8-foot shared use pattern. So I don't know, Pat, what did I miss?
I think just a little bit of the backstory. So the current discussion with Logan Grant at DOT was, they reviewed your application that was submitted in October, and their suggestion is that if you want to pursue this project to move forward with the design, that they would pay 80% of, city pay 20%. And they haven't said this outright, but my presumption is after meeting with the DOT here on site and what Eli kind of alluded to, I think they identified some of the challenges that will exist with building that path. And so they want to give the opportunity to look into it a little more closely, probably get a more accurate idea of the cost before they would, commit to funding the project. I mean, my gut feel is if you went that step, by them committing to or investing in the design, they're probably going to fund the project in the future, but it gives that opportunity to refine it a little bit. But I think it also gives the opportunity that, if you're on the fence of whether this is the right move or not, if there's maybe another route to pursue, I think you can diplomatically tell the DOT that and say, hey, after some further discussion, we want to pull back a little bit, look at this a little closer, and expect another application from us in 2025. I think that is okay. I mean, if you were to just flat out say, no thanks, we're done, and you go back to the table in the future, they probably would look at that a little differently. But to say, we want to look at this differently and come back later this year, I think they would respect that.
Yeah, and I think one additional point that I'm remembering as Pat's talking is that we did have some discussion about the fact that most often in town, when you build a new home, you're responsible for the sidewalk. And there's some differentiation between sidewalk and shared use path. Sidewalk would obviously then become the responsibility of the citizens that live along that area. Shared use path becomes the responsibility of the city. And we know we have some concerns about our ability to maintain. We know that those shared use paths are further down on the priority list for snow removal when we do eventually have snow. But that is a consideration where we would want to be able to look homeowners in the eye and say, Ken Royals Reefel, who I did talk to before they left for warmer spaces, they have a fairly steep driveway, and we would want to know that they're confident with the design solution that we come up with. And again, the biggest goal is that if we have people in town that want to be able to get out, be active, we want them to be in an area that's safe, and we want there to be as much. We know that we may not be able to achieve 100% concurrence, but we want to work towards that. So, any comments, questions, any ideas?
The original grant application was for basically a BL on the north side of the bank, correct?
Yes. Yep. It would curve all the way around to Willow Street. And then at Willow Street, it went all the way west to connect to the existing path that's near the school.
Having done design on these, I could see that be a very, very challenging with the driveways, especially because we have those finger house.
Yeah.
Just with the slopes that you have to maintain for ADA compliance, that's two driveways gonna be.
There's some nice landscaping, there's nice mailboxes.
Right,
there's
there's a
light
lot of
poles,
things to work
there's-
around.
Right.
And, you know, there's been talk of, when you were talking to the owners, that was in the front, or was there discussion about?
We
Going
initially,
back.
thus far, we haven't talked to the owners about the back. Because there would be some belief that on either side of the creek, if we're on the south side of the creek, that would be the property. We know there's some landscaping back there in some of those yards as well. If we created something on the north side of the creek bed, which is largely unfilled with water, you know, it would be a similar circumstance to hole number 8 on the golf course, where you may have pedestrians to the right of mediocre golfers, and I'm not gonna point at you and I, but.
In the yards on the other side.
Yeah. So we wouldn't necessarily want to advertise that people need to walk on the golf course with helmets on, but, or walk along that path. But if it is, I think people being wary, but fortunately on that hole, people are aiming towards the hole over the pond, trying to get over the pond, versus trying to go to the right, which is sort of purgatory. But again, there's 3 options, and we sort of sketched those out the other day. Part of this is getting a lot of those folks in the room. And when you talk about what some people have already done on the front side of their house, and we know that there's a small apron there, but it's somewhat crumbled. Even just improving that apron to the point where there's a couple of reasonable feet. Sarah, you're on that road quite a bit, you know, by your mom's house. Your mom's house is yeah. So, I think there's options, but I think what we do is we draft a very articulate letter that says we have additional homework to do. We're very interested in this grant opportunity, but at this point in time, I don't think we don't have the requisite things in place in order to be able to submit an application.
Because I think the other piece of this is DOT has not made any announcements on the grant for any of the potential recipients, because they're probably waiting for other people too, but they're waiting for your answer. So I think as, you know, quickly as we can get them a direction, they'll appreciate that, and so will everybody else. And especially if you're on the fence, let's just, you know, push it down the road and have more discussion.
Yeah, the proposal was to go forward with the preliminary design. I don't think we're to that stage yet. So I agree that, there's, a route set that would work yet. We go with preliminary design yet.
I mean, the city's cost share of that design is somewhere less than $10,000, so it's not a significant amount, but still, there's probably better ways to spend that money if this isn't ultimately the direction you want to go.
Any other comments? All right, so Pat, I'll work with you and Jerry, and then I'll probably staff something with the council, just so that you see the letter that we would potentially push forward. Because again, we want this to be a good handshake on them. Yes, we want to work with you, but until we have confirmation that we have a plan that meets all of our intent. So, sound good? Okay. All right. Thanks for coming back. All right, so we're going to continue to move down the agenda. Item number 11, new business. First item is resolution 2025-02, set bridges golf course fees. So we have in the council packet, everyone should have a copy of the
Things going last year.
So I believe there's a call out, and it's
The
so these are slightly up. We have a copy that's spelled out. Yeah, that'd be fantastic. So. Stack. We're not through it just yet. Those of you that are members, for those of you that are members, these look different. They don't look different.
I think they may be up $5 to $10. I know Ben had mentioned that he wanted to, that an increase, a small percentage was appropriate, but he was going to examine that to make sure that our out-of-town guests were going to contribute to that.
The conversation with the Great Light.
Haven't heard about that.
Yeah.
That's a separate
Yeah.
negotiation that I don't think needs to be completed until March.
Right. So. All right, so. Mike will give you a visual description. Elaine is looking for last year's.
Current ones on that.
Probably.
Wasn't it like a 3% increase, Larry?
Yeah, I'm thinking it was in the, in that range. But the packet just has the new rates, and there's a couple that I know are a little higher.
Okay, the current ones.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. Got it. Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll read where you guys have these, so. I mean, there's a lot of. So 9 holes is up by $3, both for 9 and 18 holes, so that's up by $3 a piece. Weekend is up by $3. Punch card's up by 10. Twilight golf is up by $2. Gas cart rental is the same. Family pass is up by $20. Member guest add-on is 25. Singles up by 15. Couples up by 15. Singles up by 10. Student membership is the same. And let's see here. Yeah, annual gas golf cart piece, it's a tongue twister, up by 25 for a single and up by 50 for a couple. Annual cart storage is up by 10, both for electric, gas up by 10. And then the annual trail fee, which is, I'll never understand. Is sorry, was that my inside voice? 140. 15 per day trail fee or 140. So trail fee for those of us that have a third stall in our garage or a place to tuck our golf cart, but don't keep it at the course. So. All right, so resolution 2025-02.
Has there been any discussion of the couples membership?
Brian Lansdowne, I'll give him credit for that. He cornered me one day at the golf course and asked about a couple's rate. So Brian and Penny would pay the same as a family. And, when you look at a family like the Seeleys, who are on the golf course quite a bit, based on where we live, we're getting quite a few more rounds than what a couple is probably going to get. Sarah, we could most certainly ask that question.
When you look at it comparatively, I know you're not looking at the senior line, I am. And the senior rate for a single or a couple there's a difference of just under $100. But when you compare the percentage between the single and the family, it's about the same. So basically what this is doing is I think it's appropriately classifying couple as a family, but it's encouraging more family members to come and play. And in a sense, you can say that family membership is comparable to what a couple would be, but encourages younger people to come out and play. And I like the feel of that.
Couples that no longer have children in that age range that have asked. And I'm like, I don't know if there's been discussion recently or not, so I said I would ask.
I wonder if we could, because seniors 65 and older, hopefully I'll not have any kids in my house when I'm 65.
They come back.
Yeah.
So gone, come back.
No problem. Yeah, I don't know the right way to answer that. I mean, I agree with you, Larry, that it's, looks like it's about the same or it's consistent.
Yeah.
But I agree with Sarah that I have been approached by a few folks, again, Brian and Penny stopped me in.
I think the way this is laid out is kind of a legacy, but I think the response might be is if you could cross out family and say couple, and if you were to look at that as a single or a couple, you'd say, oh yeah, that's appropriate for the second person. But in this case, the rest of the kids come with it.
So what would your recommendation, leave it?
Yeah, I think, I mean, if everybody is okay with that legacy of not having a couple rate for the under 65, I think this is reasonable. And Mike, I don't recall specifically, and if we talked about this with Ben, but Ben is really into data, and I think his message to us on the brief discussion that we had on this as a committee was this is very comparable and fair compared to other courses, and considering the quality of the course, it's probably a bargain.
Yeah, I would agree with that. He pushed that on the committee. He wants to he knows the value of our course in comparison to other courses. And he wants to keep us in that range where we're going to continue to see people can afford to come in, yet also knows that the value of what they're getting. So.
And that's to the credit of watching those and the entire maintenance staff, making that happen year after year.
You got any input, Will? No, I'm content with the way it's worded about him.
No, I just, following up on Larry's comments, I just did quick math on that. If you look at the senior rates, couple versus single, it's the same percentage as, single, to family. It's like 71% of it, so, yeah. It's just a different way to look at it, yeah.
Is that acceptable?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
I mean, if there's something that's extreme and you talk to Ben and he wants to do something different, a little different at a later date with the committee, your committee, that's fine with me, but right now I kind of agree with you guys. That's the way he wanted it. So until then, let's make a motion.
Yeah, in fact, we can have more discussion, but I'd make a motion to approve resolution 2024-04, the Bridges golf fees for this season.
2502.
2502.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. Okay, 2502. Resolution 2025.
John, second.
Motion and second on the table to approve resolution 2025-02.
Thank you, sir.
Any further discussion? So is there any time sensitivity? Does Ben have to push? I mean, I don't think anybody's gonna be on the golf course this week. I don't know if he has, I mean, if he's got, I mean, this is that time frame during the year. And if the committee's met, you guys have if you're in agreement,
This, I mean, I would encourage approval. It does give people the opportunity to pay their membership early if they like. You can start bringing the cash register on that. I think that's, if we can do that for them, that's fine.
So you want to have to start date January 1st? Or is there a special date?
I mean, I think once we approve the resolution, we can begin to charge those fees for the upcoming year.
Okay,
Sarah, thoughts? Perhaps we, during the meeting, we are talking about looking at ways for a couple to be, a younger couple without kids to not necessarily have to pay family membership. So maybe we put an asterisk there and we examine, look for rates at other courses and look for comparison and just very specifically ask Ben that question. Through the committee work that Ben, we can ask that question. Approve this for now and agree to work on a couple's rate.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just doing my due diligence of
Yeah,
being
Yeah.
asked those questions that I need to bring up forward.
yeah.
And So.
doing a great job, thank you.
Absolutely. All right, so any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 2025-02 is approved. Next on the table, resolution 2025-03, contingency fund transfers.
So every year we build in a contingency fund, into the budget of $30,000. This year, it's looking like the council budget needs that $30,000 just because we have put the back housing development, all of the expenses of the back housing development into that fund. So this resolution would just be approving the $30,000 contingency fund to be put into the other professional services code for 2024.
The recoding is for the convenience of tracking the funds.
And we will be reimbursed.
Okay.
And so it'll be put back into the general fund, but just keep track of it. It was the easiest to put it underneath the council fund.
Okay. Make a motion to approve resolution 2025-03. Second.
Motion and a second on the table to approve resolution 2025-03 contingency fund transfers. Any further discussion? That is an ordinance, not a resolution. That's the next one. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Resolution 2025-03 has been approved. Next on the agenda, Mr. Schott is reading ahead in packet. Ordinance 2025-02, supplemental appropriation. So this is our first reading, so there will be no official action, but these appropriations, which are listed in the City Council General Government Buildings and Community Subsidies, listed as in the amount of $320,000, $780, will be funded from unassigned fund balance.
So this is our year-end numbers where we ended up. So along with the $30,000 of the contingency fund, we need an additional $46,550 to housing development expenses. So that is the first line item. The second line item is the general government buildings. That would be that we when we purchased this building and all of the furniture and the remodeling that was done. Came to $283,700. And the community subsidies, the fireworks display went over budget by $530, and that was pretty much to pay for the individual to shoot off the fireworks. So the total of the three that we went over budget in 2024 is $320,780. And this would just, like Eli mentioned, it would just be the first reading. And then we will discuss again at the February 6th meeting. February 3rd meeting.
Any further discussion? All right, next line item on the agenda is 2024 year-end transfers to general fund.
So again, this is year end, the very first part We are looking to transfer from the electric fund, $500,000 into the general fund. The telephone, $325,000, and then the solid waste, $40,000, for a total of $865,000 into the general fund. So we will need separate motions for these two, but the second one is, the 2024 year-end transfers to South Dakota Fit. The only department that budgeted anything was the fire department, which we were gonna take the 10% and 2% malt beverage tax and put it into South Dakota Fit to repay the electric and telephone fund for the fire truck they purchased. So this $40,000 would be the first repayment for that. And then the solid waste, $5,000 to build up their account to replace any equipment that may be needed. So a total of $45,000. So we just need two motions. Or if you have any questions.
The first motion is the transfer to general fund. Okay. I'd move approve the 2024 year-end transfer to general fund in the total of $865,000.
Motion and second to approve 2024 year-end transfers to general fund in the amount of $865,000. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Take a motion to approve the 2024 year-end transfer to reserves to South Dakota Fit in the total amount of $45,000.
Motion and second to approve the 2024 year-end transfers of reserves to the South Dakota Fit. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Next item on the agenda. Consider change order option for parks and golf maintenance building. I think we have a diagram. I'm wondering if this may be an item that we need to.
So I have a comment from Gary.
Okay.
Can I read it?
You may.
So the building was originally designed to have two mini splits to cover heating and cooling, one in the break room and one in the office area. The bathroom was heated by a wall heater. White Construction hired Durad Heating and Cooling to do the work, and he didn't think we would be happy with the mini splits. He proposed putting a furnace and air conditioner in which will cover all the office, break room, bathroom, and utility room. White Construction said he is good either way, but before moving on, he would need to know if we want to make the change. The extra cost would be $3,391.80.
Neil say why he thought it was better. Is it just more capacity? Or, you know,
His expertise, he noticed, it probably wouldn't hold up
Yeah.
to what it, the square footage.
Did you say 3,000?
3,391.
And
That's for in lieu of.
a furnace, a bigger one?
No, so these are just the split
Yeah.
units, the split units where there's a small outside
Incremental?
box.
Similar to like your hotel rooms.
Yeah,
I mean, like an incremental?
well, it's just you get a little panel inside the room versus that full-fledged furnace.
I'd rather just do it right the first time we're done. Well, you're the engineer. Well, it's your recommendation. That's why we pay you. What do you?
I mean, I guess honestly, we just had a similar situation to this, and with the price they're asking for and what you're gonna get, I would go that way.
Yeah, better one.
It's, yeah, the new
Right,
splits
you're
are a
done.
little more maintenance and not as easy to.
Maybe take your advice. You're a good guy.
You know, if this amount reflects, I mean, but apparently we're not.
Right.
One or the other, so is this a difference?
This is a difference,
Okay.
the extra cost.
Okay.
I think those mini splits are fairly inexpensive.
I put a mini split in the PD
Mhm.
and it works great.
Okay.
I don't have any backup. So tomorrow I went in there today,
Hmm.
this morning, and it was still set where I put it, so.
Hmm.
And it was really cold this morning, so just want to throw that out there.
Is that just hitting one room?
Yes.
I think that's, again, the situation that we ran into when it's multiple rooms. What they're proposing will probably work better for you long term. I mean, what Mike's got's an ideal situation to use it when it's just a room.
What do you, single room, what do you think square footage?
It's 12 by 26, fully insulated.
So are we gonna make a motion on this? Or we just, pardon?
You wanna change it, someone would need to make a motion.
What do you guys think down there? Will,
I think we ought to go ahead and.
they do it right. I think we're not gonna forget it. I think it's a good idea. We got two pros over there. One guy put it in, the other guy's an engineer. What do you think?
There isn't a lot of information. I do respect your opinion.
Okay,
And we gotta get you a backup just in case.
what about the lady down there? Make it, what do you think?
Yeah.
Shall I make a motion, consider change order option for parks and golf maintenance billing for the amount of
$3,391.84. Motion second on the table to approve change order request for Parks and Golf Maintenance Building.
So he will run ductwork then into that bathroom area as well from this one furnace slash AC?
The invoice states install gas furnace, air conditioning unit and ductwork, built soffit around ductwork.
You guys got it spelled out on an estimate, Mike?
Yeah, I was looking at that. But it doesn't say whether it's around it goes to the bathroom.
Yeah, Jerry noted it goes to the bathroom and utility room.
Okay,
We'll cover the office, break room, bathroom and utility room.
okay. I guess I'm not seeing that.
That was the comment that Jerry submitted.
Motion second on the table to approve that change order option. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Right, change order option for Parks and Golf Course Maintenance Building in the amount of $2,391.84 has been approved. All right, pay request number 6, Parkway Construction New Ball Fields. It's in the packet, it's,
There's still a 20,000 volt back on the final.
Yes, yep, and Tony Brown from Parkway is here as well, to help answer any questions, but that's what we've done is basically this payment amount is $125,468.69. And what that does is it gets all the quantities, the final quantities that Tony's guys put in up to date. And then it still holds back $20,000, as was discussed at some of your previous meetings.
I just got one question. You talking about the asphalt turf?
Yes. The batting cage turf, yeah.
Right, right. Yeah, well, can I elaborate on that or? Okay, well, the main concern is, on the asphalt turf, this condition that it's in. Are you gonna rip it out, redo it, or are you gonna patch it? Because if we paid for a new asphalt turf, because it up and the down or whatever you wanna call it, ripping it or tearing it, it might take a little bit of work to get it to be like a brand new asphalt turf.
Was there a stretch on that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we went out to this,
I haven't been out there in a while.
okay, yeah, we went out to this fall, cause I was kind of after Pat to kind of get this project closed out. We're coming up on 2 years since we did it. But anyway, yeah, he just said that you had some concerns on that. The guy that installed it, great guy, but the company I bought it from, nobody's, they're not gonna warranty it he had pictures of the flood that went through there and, it is what it is, it got cleaned off. But we went out to this fall, took up the one end, got it loose, cause we glued that 1 foot perimeter all the way around. That's how it was to be installed, but that was the specs. And we got the ones in loose and we were able to carpet stretch it to the west. You can actually see the difference because us stretching it, we actually pulled it past the one that's still in place. And then we put a metal strip and anchored it down, and it looks great. The only ripple you're seeing in it now is, looks like it might have, you know, like the concrete, whatever the concrete shows, that will show. You know, it's the, whatever the blemish is, but it's down tight, there's nothing under it. I mean, you guys can put your nets up, play ball.
Have you been out there? Yeah, I mean, it's,
I haven't been out there.
well, I mean, it's hard to go in that batting cages. That batting cage is in better shape than the other 3 batting cages we've got in town. Because they just have remnant, they just have chunks of turf.
Well, maybe tomorrow. just
Home
stop
plate,
in.
home plate, you know, there are a couple of pads rather than a full set.
Right.
So I noticed the metal bar that was bolted to the ground that allowed it to be stretched out. Last time I was out there, which maybe a month ago.
Yeah, my only concern is on AstroTurf. If you got it bolted or tight or stretched or whatever, the temperature up and down, or if you get humidity, you got bubbles in the middle. And if you're running, you might trip over it. And I was just wondering, you know, because you're the engineer, not me. I haven't seen or signed off on it. So what's your recommendation to the city?
I mean, I think the fix that Tony did is gonna help address that issue by now having that batten strap that has bolts that can be loosened. If it does, you know, have some freeze thaw or stretching issues in the future or whatever, you now have a way to actually do some maintenance on it.
Modify it a little.
Yep.
Or, sorry.
No, go ahead.
What we did to stretch it is they're heavy. Those things are heavy.
Right.
You'd have 10 guys out there and barely move it. So we took 2x4s, you know, they gave us some advice. We rolled it on the end, and then we put a strap on it, rolled it again, and then we ran screws through it. And then we were able to use we anchored it to a skid loader, and then we'd come along it. As a couple guys were using those carpet things. I don't think they needed to, but we were trying to move it from way back. And once we got it tight, it was flat. I mean, it looks good. I got pictures of it. I think I sent them to Pat.
Yeah.
And then once we got it to where it was at, then we just let it go. And once we actually even took pressure off it, it actually stayed past where we pulled it, you know, where the other one's still glued down. And then I put a stainless steel strip on it so it wouldn't rust.
But it's like a batting cage. Do they play?
Double
You
barrel.
don't run on.
Oh, okay. That's
You
what
don't
I was-
yeah, you probably have a pitching machine in there.
Right.
Or sometimes, you know.
I mean, if there's a little bubble, you can bang it down with a spike or something to hold it down where they're not gonna.
Well, you're not I mean,
You put a sand.
one person's gonna be at the other end batting
Right,
behind,
right.
and you're gonna be trying to throw around the side of a cage.
Right.
Protect yourself.
All right.
You know, so you're really not gonna, I mean, you guys looks great compared to, so, I mean, we did tees this year, they have anchor lines, so theirs is all over the place.
Yeah, but they got more money.
Yeah. City of Sioux Falls,
They're
there's,
tight on their money, so we gotta make sure we don't stretch it as far as.
there's have, you know, cause concrete's gonna, like he said, freeze and thaw. I mean, that's a big slab out there, it's cut, but you're gonna get them to move, and you're gonna, if this one moves and this one don't, that crease is there.
So
You're not getting away from it.
the other question is the pay request is everything except for a few dollars are holding back, is that it?
Right, yep.
And that would cover anything in case we had to double check?
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
You okay? Everybody else okay?
What, holding 20?
Or, I mean, the
I like to actually close the project out, guys. I mean, we're 2 years down the road.
Were there
I
other
was
things
done.
besides, I can't remember, Pat, if we had anything else on the punch list from besides turf?
The shade structure.
Yeah. Yep, I think there was still a question on that bolt on the shade structure. I don't know if you guys were able to, there was one bolt on one of the shade structures that didn't allow it to be tensioned quite right. And
I think when we came down, we had them all, I don't know if parts, anybody here, but we had them all tight and secure. You must have taken them down. I drove out there this evening before I came here, and I see they're all off. So somebody must have loosened them up and taken them off for the year.
Because the last, unfortunately, without Jerry, we probably don't know for sure, but the last correspondence I have was on November 26th. And it noted that the shade structure, the bolt was still an issue. And then there was still the concern with the irrigation system, the pump inside the building. But again, we've kind of been around and around with that one that, you know, the way that has to be winterized, you know, it needs to be kind of taken apart and put together every year anyway. So there's, you know, an opportunity to address that. And then really the main one was the batting cage turf, kind of like Art said, just to make sure that in the spring, everything was still up to satisfaction, but, you know, there's performance bonds in place, there's warranties in place, things like that too, that, you know, if you would so choose to, close the project out, like Tony's saying, there's still some recourse if there are defects, but obviously holding retainage is the easiest way, but that's up to you to decide kind of what's fair too.
My question to you is, who took that part off, or who moved it, or who could we call?
I think it was Kelly and his guys would have done that.
Is there any way we can call and ask them what?
Or does it just need a new,
If we still lose?
or what? Can't be nothing major.
I think what it had was like a glue bolt on it instead of the tension bolt. So if something broke, or you call it, had to swap it out. Like exactly.
I think they were all installed improperly, and then the one that was still up, they couldn't get it to loose because the mechanism inside was stripped or something was wrong with it. They couldn't take it apart.
I thought when Lyle went out and checked, I think one we couldn't get, and then I think they went back down and then Lyle was gonna go check it and he said it was, you know, well, we slipped it back underneath and it should have been done right, but like you said, if there's something wrong with it, it just needs to be.
He's trying to reach it now.
As far as our action goes, I mean, we have this in front of us and I would encourage approval of it and to expedite closing this out. Answer those questions again. I'm sure with the holiday and the winter weather, they've been out of sight and out of mind. We have talked about them, but I mean, if we could expedite closing this out with a pay request number 7, I'd be in favor of that.
So you're saying,
To approve what's in front of us.
Right.
And then get these questions answered.
we got those, so if it was just the turf, I feel good with that, because I've been on top of that recently. If, so we could verify this, the other couple items.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, no, that's fine. I'm just fine this down here. Just, you know, it's like he said, it's part of the bonding and stuff. And, you know, my company can only buy like 7.5 million. And this is like 1.4 or whatever it is. That still is held against me until, even though you still got your warranty period with the bond company, it shows that it's still open against me. And, you know, here we are going into year 2. You
How
know,
much time would it take if we paid this tonight, and like he said, come back for the next one,
February 30th.
next
You know,
meeting?
yeah, no, and that's fine. Pat mentioned that sometime in the spring.
No, that's right, let's be fair here. Let's be
You know,
fair.
when we moved the water from where it was gonna be into your building and stuff, you know, I ate like $8,000 worth of bills here too. You know, so that was a great job and I appreciate getting it. So it was nice. I love doing these. I left here and went to T and did theirs. Now I'm in Harrisburg doing their AstroTurf one. So we do a lot of these and stuff. So that's just kind of what it boils out. I just want to, can we get this thing closed out, or, you know, if there's something there, I mean, we don't have a problem running down and fixing stuff. Like, I think this summer we came down 3 times trying to help you get that darn little drip out of that.
Well,
That
let's
roof,
clarify.
that garage.
That's what we want to do, like you mentioned, we'll
Yep.
prove what we got,
Okay.
and then come back one
Yeah,
more
that's
time, next meeting, if at all possible,
Yeah.
to get the facts and go from there.
Yeah, and if there's something on that, on one of those deals, I mean, them are easy to take apart, you know, if we gotta order one that has the bolt or something, the tensioner's a little strip,
Right.
you know, they just, you know. Get them something.
Is that okay with you, Mike?
Yeah,
To approve tonight, and then double check and come back one more time?
yep.
So I make a motion to approve pay request number 6 to Berkeley Construction New Ball Fields. The total of $125,468.69.
Shot second.
Motion is second on the table to pay Perfect Construction request number 6 for new ball fields in 125.68.69. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah, and then. Thanks for coming down.
Yeah,
We'll get it on the next agenda.
Yeah, appreciate your job and thanks for letting me look.
Have a great night. Drive safe, stay warm.
All right, next item on the agenda is change order number 3 from Gilhaugen Construction Bridge Patio Addition.
The comment from Jerry was that this, is the reduction for the city hauling the bad soil, a savings of $4,218.
Oh, that one is, the street department, all that. So they're gonna reduce it.
That's a good thing, right?
So that's what the change order is, the dollar amount, 4,000 even.
$4,218.38 deduction.
So need a motion? Sure. Shall make a motion, change order number 3 from Gil Hagen Construction for the Bridges Patio Addition for $4,218.38 deducted.
That's full. Yes.
Second.
Motion is second on the table to approve the change order number 3 for Gilhaugen Construction Bridge Patio Addition to deduce the overall by $4,218.38. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, contract for engineering service with Banner Associates, multi-community asphalt service project.
So this is kind of a similar setup to what we had proposal last year, that I think went very well. Talking to Jeff and Keith, I know they liked how that project went. This year, we potentially have a couple more communities that'll participate, so hopefully the overall quantities will be even a little better and maybe a little more economy of scale. But the proposal in front of you will get us going on the bidding document, so that we're gonna try to get out for bids a little earlier this year, and then have the completion date a little earlier too, so that we make sure that we've got some nice weather conditions when this surface treatment work's going on.
Dollar amount.
I don't have it in front of me, sorry.
No, this is just to approve that that we'll begin the contract process for engineering services promotion.
So need a motion.
That was 7,000 for you guys, right?
Yes, yep, that sounds right.
That's the city's portion to be approximately 130 of the construction cost.
Yep, I think that was the budget that Jeff gave us.
Yep.
Or what was approved as a budget for the construction.
This is just for the engineering design for that.
7,000 even.
7,000 plus applicable taxes.
Shall make a motion for contract and engineering services for Banner Associates multi-community asphalt surface projects for the lump sum of 7,000 American dollars plus applicable taxes. Thank you, sir.
Motion is second on the table to approve contract for engineering services with Banner Associates in the amount of 7,000 plus applicable taxes for the multi-community asphalt service project. USD as Councilman John stated. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thanks, sir. Appreciate your time.
You bet. Thank you for your info. You're great with the info. I appreciate it.
Met some of the guys working on the lighting project. They were out doing survey out in the backyard.
Oh, okay. And we have the pre-construction meeting for that project on Thursday.
The young man said it again, and I think he said it'll probably be
Reese?
Reese, yeah.
I guess one other quick thing, not to go long, but you want any update on the Bach development project?
That would be fantastic.
Okay, so we have submitted the plans to South Dakota Housing and DANR for approval. And on Thursday, we're scheduled to go through them with the city staff and kind of finalize everything. And then hopefully be a little ahead of the curve to get out for bids and get some construction going.
Awesome.
Great.
So, that's, thanks, Pat. Appreciate you.
Drive safe, stay warm.
Thanks.
Next item on the agenda is the pay increase for Mr. Marcus Cooper, 2411 to 2482, effective 1/24/25. Mr. Hanson has provided a memorandum recommending the step increase.
Shall I make a motion for step pay increase for Marcus Cooper from 2411 an hour to 2482, effective 1/24/2025, as recommended by the department head.
Motion is second on the table to approve the step pay increase for Marcus Cooper on 1/24/25, $24.11, 2482. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Step pay increase approved. Congratulations, Mr. Cooper. All right, looks like, so we have another document. This one looks to be from Mr. Bowden. It's a multi-page document. That 20 Beresford Volunteer Fire Department, State of the Department 2024.
Could you define a good intent call? On the. They had 15 of them last year.
15 good intent calls. Oh,
Plant a tree.
so we often get calls for passersby on the interstate that feel as though they see a fire. So there's good intent, but often the methane plant that's west of the interstate will blow off the load. That if any load of the methane is contaminated, is not the right word, but if moisture gets into that load of methane as they're cooking it down, it's no good. They can't sell it, so they have to blow it off. So they'll see fire. That happens 4 times a year, despite everything that we've said in Lincoln County.
Yeah, I think they have continuous flyers for some of the valuable gases.
And that's what I would believe. I'll verify with.
Oh, I mean, they call with good intention, but
Yeah.
there was no fire.
Yeah.
Google confirms your statement.
The Google, glad the Google gets agrees with me. Yeah. Right. Do we have to approve receipt said document? No. Yes.
Yep.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the volunteer fire department, state of the department 2024.
So. Second.
Motion is second on the table to approve the Beresford Volunteer Fire Department, State of the Department, 2024. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The report will show as approved. Last item in new business is set 2025 wage for this gentleman, Michael Short. I think based on sequence, well, I think let's go ahead and do this. The committee met ahead of time, and what we're going to recommend, committee members, if you'll refresh my memory. What was the increase?
$1.50 per hour plus 3%. Comes to $2.70 per hour.
That's on the hourly rate. So from $37.99 to whatever that equates to. So that's consistent with your team.
Yep.
You,
So if everybody agrees with that, entertain a motion to accept.
shall make a motion for the 2025 wage for police chief Michael Church. Is $1.50 plus the 3%, which comes to total amount $2.70 as of January
1st.
So you get some back pay.
Thank you for everything you do in your job, sir. Thank you.
Motion and second on the table to approve pay increase for Chief Shirt in the amount of $2.70. All those, are any further discussion?
I just want to add one quick thing. I appreciate the report that you provided at the end of the year, and it made me think that I was talking with Art earlier, that what you have to deal with are the expected and the unexpected. And I think it was clear in that report, the things you expected that were increased patrols and other activities that you could plan, that you move the needle. You saw a difference in the impact that that had. The unexpected, you know, you gotta be ready to run. And I'm assuming you do after incident reports when things come up. Yeah. Yeah, and, you know, things happen and you gotta be, but I wanted to point out in what you plan to do, it was clear that you moved the needle. I think that's great.
Yeah, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, we're still at the end of the year, because when I met with you guys, it was end of the year. I haven't heard anything from you yet, but normally I have to submit those.
I think it was
Quickly in January.
November. Yeah.
Start working on.
That was the report through November.
Correct.
Yeah.
So just for clarification. Instead of saying a dollar amount, are we gonna do the $1.50 plus 2%, or are we doing $2.70?
We're doing that.
Well, we have a motion and a second on the table to approve that pay increase. And so, Elaine, you'd like us to further clarify that motion to say $1.50 plus 3%. Okay. So we'll amend, so I'll need an amended motion.
Second.
So we have an amended motion on the table to accept a pay increase for Chief Shirt, $1.50 per hour plus 3%. Any further discussion?
I just want to make one comment. I just appreciate the time the police chief spent with the committee. We talked extensively and working on more communication and some issues, and I really appreciate the mayor. I was pretty impressed with his input. And I was pretty impressed with Mike too. He's pretty knowledgeable. I just want to say we're trying to do whatever we can to make it better for everybody in town. That's it.
Tom, a point of clarification from a legal perspective. If we keep Chief around, we do have a line item on the agenda for an executive session personnel to discuss some items that relate to the question about. Yeah. So if you'll stick around.
Absolutely.
Yep. So, yeah, want to echo Art's comments, and then if you stick around for a few minutes, we'll go into executive session just to finish it up. Awesome. All right. So.
We need a vote on
Yes, we do. Yeah, you got that part. So all those in favor of the pay raise, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, item number 12 on the agenda, notice of vacancy, Beresford City Council, Beresford School District.
There's gonna be a notice of vacancy in the newspaper. Council member Ward 1, Art Shot. Ward 2, Will Wolfe, and Ward 3, Sarah Anderson. Those positions are coming to an end. January 31st is the first day that a petition can be taken out. And then it needs to be returned no later than February 20th. So, any of you have questions, please see me.
I just got one question. We have a copy of the maps, so we got a copy of the maps.
I have all ready to go.
Yeah, because I'm not sure what it is, because if they changed it, so we can pick that up on the 31st, right? See the 31st. Thank you. Thank you.
Any questions, any clarifications? Chris Savvy and Darren Erickson leaving the school, but that'll be it's a big change. They've been there for a while. Okay, all right, next line item on the agenda is a couple of travel requests for Mr. Fulton Laubach. Dr. Gray School.
It's a DRE school. It's an acronym for drug recognition expert. Initially talked to Elaine. She didn't think I needed to be here, but Jerry said we need to be here. So, I'm doing what the boss man says. So, yeah, I think we did. But if there's any questions on it, I kind of put a little pack together on what it entails. But if there's any questions on it, I can answer to the best of my ability.
Yeah, I think the main reason why we want to do it is because when you're sending it to Sacramento,
Yes.
California. However,
So, this whole project is funded by the South Dakota Attorney General's Office and the drug forfeiture funds. So,
Well, Marty,
yeah.
you gotta take
So-
care of him.
So everything is covered 100%, hotel rooms, flights. He's even got a hotel room in Sioux Falls for that 2 weeks. If weather were to get bad, they would put him up in a hotel for free. Meals are covered. Everything's covered 100%. The only thing we gotta pay for is his wages. So,
Okay, so there's one in Sioux Falls and there's one in Sacramento, California.
yeah, so the first 2 weeks, the 27th through the 31st, and then February 3rd through the 7th is the actual school in Sioux Falls. And part of that portion will be the test. The DRE certification is he'll go to Sacramento, California, and he'll be in a jail facility. Local police department, sheriff's office, highway patrol, they'll bring in people suspected of drug driving or under the influence, and he will sit in and do evaluations on these people, independent evaluations. And someone will be evaluating him on how well he's doing. When he passes, he's good. He's a drug recognition expert. He comes back. I think he has to do 2 or 4 evaluations a year, which will be no problem for Colton.
Okay, what's his rank?
Officer.
Not a sergeant? I
Nope.
mean,
Nope.
just a regular officer?
Nope.
He'll have the certification.
What's that?
He'll have the certification?
Yep, and it's good. I mean, there's really no, as long as you do your minimum of 4 or maximum of 4 a year, you keep your certification as a drug recognition expert.
I appreciate your time,
Yep.
energy for education. I'm all for education. So you need a motion for approval here? Shall I make a motion for the approval of Trevor request DRE school Sioux Falls, January 27th, 31st, February 3rd, 7th, 2025, Lubbock, and DRE certification Sacramento, California, March 18th to March 25th, 2025, Lubbock.
Second.
Thank you.
Motion and second on the table to approve the travel request from DRA school and certification program. Law. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries. Having worked with our law enforcement colleagues, we do have, on the ambulance service side, we do have multiple instances where this would be a very valuable skill set to add to what the EMTs and nurses bring to the table. So that's fantastic. Okay, we're going to do the fun part before we jump into executive session.
I make a motion, we pay the bills.
Motion second on the table to pay the bills. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We will pay the bills. Now I will entertain a motion to enter into executive session to discuss personnel matter.
Second.
Motion second on the table to enter into executive session for personnel at 2029.
You'll call me, Eli?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Appreciated the time to be with you guys.
Yep.
Very professional, really impressed. So
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it very much.
More confident I'm in the right town.
Yeah. Thank you.
God bless you.
Come see us if you need anything. Appreciate it.
Drive safe, stay warm.